side of the family, and they came over from Ireland, but they got settled as farmers in Nebraska. Now this was in Nebraska.
So Grandma's mom's name was Mary? Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Mary Warden and Tom Smith. No, Mary and John. John, he was John.
That was her husband?
John Francis, John F. Francis. Yeah, but anyway, there was 3 members of this one family, and they never married, and I guess they had acquired quite a bit of farming land in Nebraska. I think it was wheat they were growing, something like that. But anyway, I guess they became quite wealthy because they bought they had property in the Omaha itself, in the city. And I know one was a major store, like clothing store or something like that. And then when they passed away, if my grandmother had lived another year, she would have been eligible to share in some of.
But these were her siblings, right? That owned this property?
Or nieces or something, yeah. I don't think
so she had how many brothers and sisters?
I don't know. Oh. I don't know that at all. Mm-hmm. The only thing I know is she didn't leave Ireland until her mother died, but the rest of her family were already in the United States.
Oh, so they were already in Nebraska or somewhere?
Yeah.
I see.
Because Omaha is in Nebraska, yeah. And I guess they were quite wealthy. These 3 brothers and sisters or whatever. Yeah. And I don't know anything about my grandfather's family. I mean, I know he came from New York State, but I don't know.
Did he have brothers
or sisters? Well,
I
do. That one sister, that one relative, I think it was an aunt, though, that she was in teaching. She was a superintendent or something, because I remember Mom and I visiting her in a hospital in Omaha.
Oh, she was in Omaha too?
Yeah.
So they met in Omaha?
Could have. I don't know.
So what was her name?
I don't remember. I can remember going into the room, being in the room, and that's about all.
She was in a hospital?
Yeah, whatever her health was, I don't think she died from it, but whatever it was, she was, of course back then, you could go to the hospital and stay a while. You can't anymore, but anyway.
But hospitals were more like houses, weren't they? Or no, back then?
Well, this was in Omaha, so it was a pretty regular.
A pretty big.
The one that I had my surgery in, it was a house that was made just Marshall. That it was a regular hospital there. It wasn't.
Mm. How big was Marshall?
I don't know. I know at one time they said it was 10,000. That's about the only figure I could tell you. I don't probably hasn't grown that much. I don't think.
Well, now they have that junior
they have
college
the college
there.
But that's kind of a temporary thing. I don't know whether you can, because students come and go.
Oh,
I don't know. Do they count the population?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
They have the place that makes the ice cream, but that's always been there. I don't know.
But when you were growing up, it was mostly corn production?
Corn and oats. And now it's soybeans, as I've been told. So.
Didn't you have...
And they've become quite well-to-do farmers because of the soybeans, because soybeans is used for so many things. Because when Mom sold her farm, she got less than $100 an acre. And John said they were, like, the times I was talking to him, he said, it's now, they're selling farmland for $300,000 and $400,000, $3,000 or $4,000 an acre.
An acre, wow.
You know, to go from under 100.
And that would have been in 80-something.
Because
No,
the
70
farmers
something.
were just buying up all the land. Well, you can see why. It's a productive business, yeah. So that's why I wonder if John sold. Although he didn't want to sell because he said the capital gains would take everything. Because he sold it, he bought it for such a low cost or low price.
And it was 40 acres, I don't know.
Oh no, it was 182, but Mom sold it up there on the hill. She sold four acres from that, so it was 178.
Well, yeah, that'd be 4 off of
Yeah.
182. Why did she do that?
Well, the people just hounded her to death
Oh,
because, and they made themselves very friendly. They were nice. I didn't meet him, but I met her. Yeah, they just kept after her till she gave in, and they were really nice to her too. But it was kind of not the best thing to do. It would have been better to leave it all together. But anyway.
did they have to, so like the corn that they would have grown, then they had to put it in some place to dry it out?
If it needed drying. I mean, some falls it would be so dry you didn't have to.
Oh.
Yeah. And they would put it in those, just a wire thing that they put the corn in.
It's like a frame and then the
Yeah,
wire, like
yeah,
chicken
yeah,
wire or
yeah,
something over it.
Yeah,
And how long would that take to dry?
I don't know. But we used a lot of our corn that we grew, but we sold some too.
So did you have to take it off the cob to feed the cows?
Yeah. It seems like there was a person that used to come around and sell the corn. It wasn't you? We didn't have to do it. We did have a little thing though that you could if you needed it.
How did that work?
I don't know. You put it in and it turned this thing, but it was just if you needed a little bit to use it.
Yeah.
But there used to be a farmer or somebody around that had one that would do bigger quantities. Yeah.
So then you'd have the cobs?
Yeah, and this we would use in our kitchen stove. It's a good starter. Good to start. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Because of that little shed by the house, we would keep corn cobs in there and kindling and yeah.
So you used to like kindling, right?
Hmm?
You used to like kindling.
Yeah, you needed something for the kitchen stove. I don't know what kind. I guess it was coal. We had a coal stove in the dining room. Living room, yeah.
So how did you store that?
In that shed.
Oh, in the shed too? So then you brought it in a bucket or something?
Yeah.
Kind of a messy
But
stuff.
when you bought it, they'd deliver it to you, though. Yeah.
So I want to hear the story of the yellow coat and the blue coat.
Well, I just remember that we went to, I think it was Penny's. I think we got it at Penny's. It wasn't a real yellow. It was kind of a tannish yellow, but it was yellow. And it was the Easter time when Eileen picked a blue one. We were allowed to pick our own coats.
Oh.
And so Eileen got this. Her coat was more fluffy, like, you want to put your head against it. Mine was more flat, but mine was yellow. And we wore those for a long time. Yeah.
So how old were you, do you think, when you got them?
I probably was 8th grade, maybe even high school.
Oh.
They weren't little coats. No, they were bigger coats.
So you could wear them for a long time. So that was during the Depression? Was it still Depression?
Well, when the Depression, the worst part, I was in grammar school. And in high school, it was getting better. Because I remember for graduation, I had to get up and do something. And I remember Mom bought me a really pretty, it was a rose lace dress. It was really pretty. And I got shoes that were, they colored them to match the.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of, so I know we were poor then.
So that was in high school when you graduated.
Yeah, that was in high school. But
how come? Because you got some award or something?
well, those first few people had to do something.
Oh,
You know,
I see.
the valedictorian, they had to give a talk, and then I had to do something. I don't know what it was. And then the rest of the people down the line had to do something too.
I see.
But let's see, 8th grade. 8th grade is when I had the appendicitis, so
Oh.
I don't remember too much then. I remember we had to take a state board test,
Oh, you did?
even back then. And because I'd missed so much school, but they did give you booklets that had questions from previous years. So I remember studying.
I see. So
I don't
were
remember.
they written tests, I guess? But they're not like fill in the circle like they have now, like those kind of.
No, they weren't, but I don't know, quite remember quite what it was like.
You didn't have to write things, or did they have
No,
multiple
I don't
choice
think
tests?
Hmm?
Were they multiple choice?
I think so. We didn't have to write an essay or anything like that. But they always call them the state boards. You think it was?
But not in high school, just for 8th grade.
Yeah. No, we didn't have anything in high school.
So in the Depression, did you have paper? Schools write on papers. Did you have a shortage of paper in the school?
I don't think so. I don't ever remember anything like that. And like I said, we never were a shortage of food, but I don't know what it was like in town.
Did they have the St. Vincent de Paul back then?
I don't think so. I don't remember any group that would be helping people out. I think neighbor helped neighbor, relative helped relative. 'Cause I think I remember Mom taking eggs or milk to people.
You have to tell me about the Lyon County Sunshine Club. Is that it?
Soda Sunshine. Sodas was the name of the county. Soda Sunshine Club.
Well, why did I say Lions? Weren't they in Lyon County?
They're in Lyon County.
What?
Sodas. What's soda? Wait a minute. Sodas. Well, maybe that's township then. It's the next thing down. It's the next thing down from county.
Oh, so,
Okay.
So
Well, it was just we lived on the south part of town, in the country, and it was country ladies that had this group, and I think it was already started though before Mom was there. I think.
Oh, really?
I think so.
So it was by how that you lived in this area?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Because otherwise, I think May would have been in it.
I see. So the people in town, it was.
No, it was just country. You had to be in that township. I don't know if the town's in that township. Yeah.
So how many ladies did they have?
Dear, I don't know. I think it was less than a dozen. Because not every lady in the township joined.
So
But I think the better educated people were in this group.
Oh,
Because there were people that were, yeah, they seemed to be a little more educated than some of the other people. Because the lady that gave me the pan that I was telling you about, Gladys White, her husband was an assemblyman or something in the state. And one other lady, was it Johnson? She was a teacher. She taught country school.
That pan you told me was the one that
With
the
the lid,
came,
with the lid on it,
the
yeah.
aluminum cake pan.
Yeah.
Well, she got you good.
She's the one. She was her family. On her place is where the Verdorns worked. The Whites had a really nice house, really nice buildings, and there was a house on it, and this is where the Verdorns worked. But they worked for Mr. White.
So I recognize the name, but I don't remember the relationship to you guys.
The Verdorns moved to Seattle after. Was during the war they moved to Seattle.
You met him. I mean, you knew them in Seattle too?
Well, we went to visit them because they were from Marshall, but I never got to know them too much. But Eileen and Mom used to go and play cards. I guess this is when I was in college.
Oh.
She'd go over there and they'd play cards together.
Canasta?
I suppose. I don't remember what they were playing. Yeah.
So it was mainly they got together like once a month or something?
I think just when they had time, they would go over. Because the Verdorns, it was Mr. and Mrs. de Verdorn, and then his sister lived with them. Because Mrs. Verdorn had not the best of health. You'd never know what she could swear like a whatever. And they had 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. And the oldest one, I think the oldest one, got married while they were still in Minnesota, and Mary Chandler and Frances and I and some relatives that were theirs. I remember we had these real pretty aprons. We just kind of served at the reception or whatever. And then the next daughter was really smart. I think she must have been the valedictorian or some such thing.
Oh.
And then the son, I can remember, I was in a math class with him. I think they were all pretty smart. But they moved to Seattle.
Because one of their kids moved there?
Well, it was during the war. You could get a really good job, good paying job.
See.
And I guess it was when we were living in Kirkland, and they were living in Seattle, and so they invited us over for a meal, so Dad and I went over. What was I going to tell the story now?
It's okay.
It just went away.
I'll ask you some more. You'll probably.
But anyway, I'll tell. I remember now. They were living there. They moved there when the war kind of started, so they were there pretty much. But anyway, first time I went, I took the train and went out. So I flew out. Whatever this time was, I flew out, and so I had to take a cab to their house.
Oh.
And the cab driver said, "Are you sure that's where you want to go?" It wasn't. Part of town wasn't very good either. They had fixed their place up nice, but he kept saying, "Are you sure you want to go to this address?" I said, "I don't know, maybe not." But anyway, it was okay. But later they moved to, let's see, what was it called? West Seattle or something, to a better area. But I can remember going that time. She showed us her basement, and it was just like a store. They had so much stuff. Of course, this was during the war, so maybe that wasn't a bad idea. But
I wonder where she got it all.
But anyway, she had a basement was just lined up on shelves, all this food. But
So
anyway.
why did you go to their house? I mean, wasn't Dad there? No.
No, this must have been before
Before you were married.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So then they would have took you to Maud's house or something, or?
I probably was, I don't know, Mary. I don't know what this was, but I do remember the taxi
guy.
fellow. Because I had to be going to Maud's because I don't think I'd be just wandering around in Seattle.
No, I don't think so.
I don't remember why I was.
Maybe Maud's were going to come get you or something. Or you take the bus, maybe.
Yeah.
Because you said they were on the bus
because
line.
I remember getting there on the cab. Then I don't remember leaving, so probably somebody did come and get me.
Yeah.
But anyway, he said, he kept saying, "Are you sure this is where the address you want to go to?"
He was going to protect you. So anyway, about the Sunshine Club, how often did they meet?
I think it was just in the summertime. I don't think they met in the wintertime. And probably once a month. Or maybe it was spring, summer, fall.
Maybe.
But I think it probably wasn't real often. But as Mom said, that's when I cleaned my house. And we liked it because we had something different for lunch or dinner. But it was a lunch thing. It wasn't a dinner thing, but I can remember Mom made salads and stuff.
And then what did they do at their meetings? They read books?
I don't know what they did in the beginning, but later they didn't do it. They just chatted.
Oh.
They might have started out doing something.
They just had a visit.
Yeah, they just had a visit.
And they didn't play cards or anything.
Not at that. Because it was in the afternoon. It wasn't evening. It was afternoon.
Mm. It's too bad they didn't take any pictures of their group.
Yeah, I guess people just didn't have cameras back then. We didn't have everything that we have today.
So was that even during the Depression they had this group or no?
I really don't know. It might have been just called off during that period. I don't know.
They wouldn't have gas to get around or...
Mm-mm. And that was another thing. To belong to it, you almost had to drive to get,
The houses were far enough away.
Yeah, oh yeah. Or have somebody drive you. And in most families, there was one car. And oftentimes the man needed the car for something, so you just... My mom always drove, though. She must have learned to drive when she was still at home, at her home.
No, she liked to ride horses when she was
that
younger.
was in Wyoming. Maybe she did in Highway too, but I think in the pictures that we had of her, was in Wyoming. And she'd be on this horse with this big hat. I don't know where that picture went. I wish I had it.
So they didn't ride side saddle there, did they?
I think so.
They did?
I think she did. But she probably learned to ride when she was at home in Iowa.
So her mother's last name was Ward and her father's name was Smith?
When Vic was painting my house, I asked him what nationality. Well, I know he was Ward, and I said, "What nationality are you?" He didn't seem to know even what nationality the Ward in his family was.
They're from Kansas,
Ward,
I think. That family's from Kansas, his father's family.
But I think Ward is an Irish name. I think that. The Smith, I don't know, but I think Ward, yeah. But he didn't seem to think it. I don't know. Didn't seem to know. So does he have brothers and sisters, Vic?
He has 2 brothers.
Oh. Live out here? Or they're in Kansas?
No, one lives in Riadell or someplace, but he was sort of like he could fix cars, but I don't know. Then at one time they owned a bowling alley. I don't know what he does. It kind of moves from thing to thing. I don't know. And the other brother, I don't know what he does, but he's always lived in Napa as long as I've heard him talk about him.
So they left Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember Vic going back to Kansas and visiting uncles and such like that. So you tell me the story of the fur coat, Eileen's fur coat.
Oh, the trouble is I can't tell you very much because she bought it after she graduated from nursing school.
But you said she asked Grandma about...
Well, she asked Grandma what she should buy. I guess she thought she had so much money, her free paychecks. And Mom suggested a fur coat, which I think, I can't imagine my mother saying that. But anyway, that was the story. And then I've seen pictures of Eileen. When she went back to Southern California, I've seen pictures of her with the fur coat on. But then I think it got where people didn't wear fur coats, so then it just was hanging in Mom's upstairs closet.
Oh.
And she wanted to get rid of it, so I guess she asked Loretta if she would like it. Loretta,
she didn't want it.
She didn't want it either. I don't know what kind of, it was a kind of a gray color. That's all I remember is the color. But it probably was not a real fur. I don't know.
So would Eileen like to play cards? Like you said, she and Grandma played cards?
Yeah, I think they did. Kind of something to do. I guess this was, let's see. I guess that was the year that she was working at the eggplant.
Oh.
So there
and
was
then you had
there
those
was
cousins or something, right? That came to work in the eggplant
yes,
too.
yes.
So did they live with Eileen and Mom
Well,
and Grandma?
I think they stayed with Mom and Dad. Well, Dad was living then for a while, and then they got an apartment in Kitts.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. They had made their house into kind of little apartments. They weren't much, but they lived in one of those. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. That's one of the sisters that I write to at Christmas time, Helen Ewan.
And they're how related to you? I forgot these 2 girls.
Their mother is my dad's sister.
And that was Mag?
No, it was, what was her name? Kate. I think she was Helen too.
Helen?
But the last name was Ewan, E-W-E-N. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they played cards too.
Well, I'm sure they did, yeah. Because in the wintertime, and the Verdoras they didn't live that far away from us, and even the weather wasn't too good. You could drive there, it wouldn't
really?
shake you.
Oh, they're pretty close. So did Eileen ever talk about the eggplant? Was it smell bad or?
Yeah, it did.
What did she have to do?
Break eggs.
That's how they did it?
That's what they did. They broke eggs.
They broke them apart, or they just had to tap them, or?
Well, I don't know how they cracked them, but they cracked them and got the...
Oh, I see. They just cracked them.
But I think, first of all, they had to look at them through something that showed if they were good or bad. I think that maybe it was a 2-stage thing. Maybe there was some people that did that, and then the others that did the crack.
I see.
But the smelling part was after it was heated.
Okay.
After they were dried, that's when you got the odor.
Oh.
Because even if you'd go to that part of town, you could...
So she didn't come home smelling like rotten
I don't
eggs
think
or
so. I don't think so.
And they were drying eggs for the war, for
Yeah, that's
to
what
take
the
for
soldiers were
soldiers
eating. Yep. And where they did this, it was, let's see, what was those folks' name? But anyway, it was a kind of a fruit place. You could go there and buy your fruit, fresh fruit, but it wasn't top of the line fruit. They were Jewish. I shouldn't say that. They were Jewish people. I forget what Wiener was their name. And then when, because Mom used to go up there and buy fruit, and can it. It wasn't bad. I mean, it was good, but might be a little.
So it wasn't like the place in Seattle or whatever that would can the fruit for you.
No,
this was they just sell it.
They just sell it, and you could go and buy it.
And just fruit.
Yeah, I think it was. They used to call it the fruit house.
So it's only in the summer.
I think so. But anyway, when this drying egg business became so lucrative, then the Wieners got into that.
So the end product would be like a bag of dried egg meal or something, and then that would be sent off to the army or somewhere.
So somehow, yeah. I suppose somebody bought it from them. Some company bought it from them. Packaged it. They probably packaged it. Yeah. But it doesn't have a very good odor. I can see why the servicemen didn't care for the eggs.
Oh, you mean when it's dried, it smells bad?
Yeah. Kind of not a good odor.
I guess if that's all you had, it would be something.
Yeah. What is that? Looks like it's got a fur on her neck or somewhere on her neck. Mm-hmm. My bush is getting so big I can't see people.
Yeah, better trim them.
All the new growth is coming up there now.
Yeah, the rain's gonna encourage it.
Yeah. I don't think it started yet, though. Yeah, dried eggs don't smell so good.
So, was that on the outskirts of town, that place?
Yeah, it was like if you were going to the Gregoires, it would be north away, it's not that direction. It wasn't way out, it was on the edges.
And then the Schwann's, where was it?
It was downtown. Yeah,
and the
I don't know where it ended up, but when it was still Nyson, who is the one Schwann bought it from, but anyway, it was downtown. But see, Nyson was the one that my dad sold the milk to, but Mr. Schwann worked for Nyson. It was an ice cream factory then, because that's where we kids would get our ice cream cones.
Mr. Nyson would give you the ice cream cone?
No, Mr. Schwann. He was a worker. He worked in...
Mr. Schwann?
Nyson was in the office someplace.
I see, never saw him.
But anyway. So I don't know when...
So were there a lot of dairies around there to support a thing like that? You'd have to have some.
I don't know. Yeah, there must have been enough to support an ice cream factory. Because they didn't have trucks that could go out like they do now and pick up. You'd have to bring it in. You have to bring it yourself in. But the Nysons were Catholic, and I know they sat right ahead of us in church.
Mm.
And there was 2 girls and a boy. But I guess they didn't care for the ice cream business because there was somebody going the other way now. Maybe it's the same lady going back. So I don't know how long the ice cream factory had been there. It was there as long as I can remember. But of course, when they sold it to Schwann, or when Schwann was, I'm sure moved someplace else because there wouldn't
Oh.
be room for a big
Oh, I
operation
see.
like that.
Yeah.
It's probably out towards the east, out towards the college, because there was a lot of building out there. There was restaurants and all that. Of course, that's where the college is too. So there was restaurants. I remember Eileen and I eating at one out there someplace.
The college wasn't there when you were growing up?
Oh
though?
no.
No, yeah. This is later when you
Yeah.
came back.
Well, yeah, it was her mom died that we were ate at, like I said, a restaurant. Yeah, it was her mom
I see.
died. I can remember eating there. Can't remember the name of it. It was, yeah.
You said it was really cold when Grandma died. I mean, when you went to the funeral, there
I
was
think it was
snow.
January. Well, no, it was March. So there was snow. Yeah, because if you probably saw the picture of John's yard. Yeah. I think that would have been early March. Yeah. John didn't have a very big house, but his father-in-law was a very good carpenter, and so he made the basement into a really nice apartment. So
Oh, really?
Yeah. But later on, they bought another house because the bathroom was upstairs in the part they lived on.
I see.
And he said he just couldn't go upstairs, no stairs anymore.
Oh,
So his father-in-law, no, not his father-in-law, they bought another house.
I see.
And I don't know exactly where it was, but I think it was near Janine someplace, because I can remember they said they could see across to her backyard or something like that.
I see.
But someone had told me, maybe John had told me or something, but the three other kids had moved away. I mean, the two boys were working, and then Jamie was in Rochester. And at that time, whoever it was told me, said that Janine, when her husband retired, they were going to move where the other three were. So
Oh,
whether they're I don't know.
they were pretty close then.
Well, it's an eastern part of the state where they moved. It wasn't in Rochester, but it was over in the eastern part of the state. I can remember where John went. So I guess well, the one son is, I think he lives in Wisconsin. Anyway,
Oh, yeah, I remember that story.
yeah, because
of
his wife,
divorce or something.
yeah. So I think, I don't know, maybe he's still lived there, I don't know. But anyway, it seems like Janine was going to move, she and her husband were going to move where the others were.
I see. So John and Eileen were pretty close. They were in the same class.
Yeah, they might have been, but I know they were, as little kids, they always played together because they were the youngest ones. Oh yeah, they were really close. Yeah. They might have been in the same class too. But they were together all the time anyway.
So was Eileen the one that made the dirt pie and ate it, or was that you, or who did that?
Eileen was the one. I remember I could remember work in the Grove, and we'd make rooms in our house with sticks, and this was this, and then we made mud pies and tell Eileen they were good, and she ate our mud pies. I don't remember that, but they say we did, so I believe whoever told the stories. But I do remember making our house in the Grove, but we would just divide the rooms by sticks.
That's okay.
I can remember that.
So how old was Eileen when she ate the mud pie?
I think real little. I think she was really little. They always kidded her, that's why she grew so tall.
So she and John like to go down to the creek, or?
Oh yeah, they were climbing trees and all sorts of stuff outdoors. Yeah. I don't know what Homer did, because maybe he got into act once in a while, but
He was younger than John, or no? John's the
he
youngest.
was older. Homer was in my class.
Oh.
Well,
Homer,
he was
Homer
young.
Wasn't
He
real
was.
smart though.
Hmm?
Homer wasn't as smart as you though. Homer.
He was pretty smart, but
He was pretty
if he'd
smart.
applied himself,
I
he
see.
probably could have been pretty smart.
Oh, okay.
He went to public school for a couple of years too. I think that gave all of us a better start,
I see.
because the nuns they didn't give them enough training. I think they would have been fined if they had.
I see.
But they needed them in the school, so they sent them before they were ready. But anyway,
I see.
but
But Homer
yeah,
didn't care about school
Homer
so
is
much.
not my. Because I skipped a grade, I was a year ahead.
Oh, so Homer was older than you.
No, I was a little older than Homer.
Oh, so he's a year behind you.
Whatever. But anyway, I can remember I went from the sixth to the seventh, half a year in each one. But when I was in the sixth grade, Homer was in my class, and he never had any paper or pencil, and Sister would always tell me to get him some, so I always had to furnish Homer with a pencil and paper.
Oh dear.
So then then the second half of my sixth grade, then I was with Bernice. She was in that grade, so I was kind of with both of them.
I see.
So all through high school, she was in my class. But I don't remember any class we were together, because she took shorthand typing and those type of classes.
So were the Chandlers, they were all pretty bright too?
Well, just average. I mean, there was no. Of course, back then, now everybody works. If they want to go to college, you do have to work a little harder. Back then, nobody was going to go to college, so I bother, I guess. And they were mostly farm kids.
So we're gonna go back and farm
And I don't know if you had to, I suppose you had to go to a certain grade, but I guess they did, because it seems like all the kids. I don't remember any kids that just not going.
Did Loretta go to high school?
No, and Mary and Frances only went 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, oh yeah, and not Dennis, who was the one? Kevin didn't even know that, and I opened my mouth one day. I shouldn't have done it, but I didn't realize it. I didn't realize,
didn't know it was a
because
secret.
he thought they had gone to high school. But there was a lot of people didn't. They weren't the only ones. So I kind of took a ribbing, because I was the one from the kidney side that went to high school, and then when I went to college, then that was.
Gave him some more ammunition.
Yeah. Until Jack came along and went to college.
Oh. But Eileen went to college. I mean, it was nurses training, but it still was.
Yeah. But I guess for them it didn't count. But anyway, it was just part of the McKigney thing, I think, more than anything else, you know. But my mom didn't care. She didn't care. She did what she wanted to do.
So did Grandpa have to stop farming when Eileen left, or did he have someone help him all the time?
I don't know exactly when he quit farming, because I wasn't there. It was. but I know during the war he was still farming, so it was sometime after that, but I don't really
So
remember.
during the war, did some of his, I mean, did the government buy all his whatever?
Yeah, there was something, yeah. Or they got something anyway. I don't know whether they bought their crops and stuff, or it was just if you planted them that you were.
Oh, like
I
a
really don't
subsidy
know.
or something?
Yeah, it must have been something like that. I just don't remember.
Well, I can't think of any more questions.
Well, you can say that.
You have more to say?
Our for the house and other buildings where it became very park-like. John had it just beautiful, you know, and many people wanted to buy that just for to put their house, build a house there. I wonder.
It was pretty because he looked.
Oh yeah,
you know,
it was.
looked down and yeah.
And he had planted trees, and it was really pretty. I just hope if somebody else has it that they keep it up, and well, if they build a nice house there, that would be nice. Yeah.
You'd think somebody would. I don't know.
Yeah, you think that's what they would want it for? Because a lot of times they just buy where the house or the buildings are. They don't. Then they buy the farmland is just separate.
Yeah, I'm glad Peggy and them got to go there and see it.